sanctuary, and it was like mixed martial arts in there. It was like elbowing and grabbing out of other people's baskets, and kind of, and there was crying, and that was just me. Which I have to tell you is kind of an anticlimax after telling them about God's love and everything, to know that they went in there like, thanks, and we're grabbing from each other. So in each of the two next groups, we had to say, okay, there's plenty of eggs. You don't even need to worry about it. You do not need to snatch any from somebody else's basket. In fact, you can just keep your own space and go through and get plenty. And so they were like, okay. And I think they probably would have been okay anyway. They knew, I think, that it would be poor form to elbow their neighbor. Or I don't think it was that they were so impressed with the love of God from my story. I don't think that was it. But I do think that they also know I could get in trouble if somebody sees me, yank a bunch of eggs out of that little girl's basket. So it went better, but it was pretty funny that, with toddlers, we talk a lot about how hating other people is something that kids have to learn, because hating is sort of a construct. But the whole thing about like every baby for himself, that is on the hard drive right from the beginning. It's like, I need mine, this is mine, no. And so we have to grow past that. But that's with all of us, every single one of us, we start out like that. And so what Jesus is wanting to do, even now, the living Christ, grow us up to something that isn't just focused on me, but is focused on the whole world, limitless love for all the people of the world and for God. That was his message over and over in 1,000 different ways. Love God with everything you have and love your neighbor as yourself. And everybody's your neighbor. That one who scares you, that one who looks different, that one on the other side of the world, that one who does life different, they are all your neighbor. And you're to love them as if they were you. And that's tough, but he's growing us up into that. And on this Easter Sunday, we realized that he wasn't just blowing smoke about that stuff. His love was bigger. The reality that Jesus leads us to is bigger and more powerful than anything this world can dish out. Anything. God's love is bigger than that. That's what the resurrection shows us. All those powerful people in Jerusalem who had killed him thought they had won. They thought it was over. The Jewish authorities thought they had dealt with this problem of this man who was destabilizing everything. They thought they'd won. Even the disciples, in their pain and their grief, thought that it was over. Of course, it wasn't over. But there are two hugely important, really world-changing things that I want to lift up on this Easter Sunday for you guys. And the first one is that no matter what pain the world dishes out, it's not the end. That's what Easter shows us. There's a pattern, and the pattern is the pain, the waiting, and then the rising. It's the darkness of Good Friday, followed by the waiting of Holy Saturday, and then the resurrection. And we can see that in our lives over and over again. And I have to tell you that it's interesting. I'm at a point in my life when the pain of Good Friday isn't as awful as the waiting of Holy Saturday. When something has happened, but then I'm in that in-between, that horrible waiting for test results, waiting for all of the things that can happen. That's hard to get through. And it's easy in that valley of the shadow to think that maybe God's not there, to think that nothing else is happening, that it's all up to me. All of those things. Faith is really hard during those waiting sections for me. And so knowing that Sunday is coming, that's what this Easter shows us, that we can hang on. And it helps, I think, if you look back on your life, and if you can identify times when, that was a Good Friday time for me. And there was a really hard wait. I lost the job. My marriage fell apart. Whatever it might be, whatever the Good Friday was, there was a wait. But then there was redemption and resurrection. If you can find those, every person, find those in your own life, then when you're in one of those times again, you can see it and you can think, okay, I see how God got me through that and got me through to the other side. I see that the rising happens. And you can hold on to that. Because there are people today that are in those Holy Saturday, awful, in-between waiting times. And you need to know that Holy Sunday comes. Easter Sunday is coming. So that's the first thing. God helps us rise. The other thing that really struck me about Easter this year, for some reason, was Jesus' resurrection appearances. I've been thinking a lot about there's Jesus and there's me and the difference between these two. And, he only appeared to his followers. We've got lists of who he appeared to. Paul lists them out at a place in his letters. We know that he only appeared to his followers. And he said, I'm getting out of Jerusalem. I'm going to be here for a little bit, but then I'm getting out of here and I'm going back to Galilee. Galilee, which was this backwater in Israel, kind of country. People, they say in the Gospels, nothing good ever comes out of Galilee. He went back there. He didn't stay in the center of power. So he appeared to his followers. And so I have to admit that if it was me and the Romans had killed me after humiliating me, if those guards had flogged me and taken off clothes and bartered for all the things, all of that he went through, Pilate and the Jewish authorities, I might not have appeared just to Mary looking like a gardener. I might have appeared instead at the temple, first thing, because he was not limited by time or space, right? He could have done anything he wanted. I would have probably appeared at the temple like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like, I'm back. What do you think of me now? I was right all the time. And they would have had to wear Depends undergarments for a week after this experience, because I would have been back, baby, and I would have told them that I was right and that it would have been payback time. Again, there's the difference between God and me. And then even the disciples, faithless disciples, they ran away, they fell asleep over and over. All he didn't ask much in his whole ministry, but he asked, stay awake, and they couldn't do it. 3 times he tried. Peter, who said, I'll be with you forever, and was always going overboard, denied him. All those disciples, if I did appear to the disciples, and I guess I would, I still would have been like, see, I told you, you need to listen to me. And he didn't do that. I mean, I want you to think about that for a second. After all that he went through, it wasn't payback time for him. It wasn't like, and he also maybe had this chance, if you think about history, to show, like, once and for all, this pattern of who God is that I'm telling you about is really real, and I'm going to make it so everybody sees it, and it'll be in the books, and then we'll have this thing sealed forever. But he didn't do that either. He made these sort of private appearances because it wasn't about power for him. He was never about numbers. We can get so focused on that in the church, wanting to make sure we're spreading the message, and then we can get scarcity-minded and fearful that we don't have enough people coming, and all these things. So far as we know, and we can tell from the Gospels, that never bothers Jesus at all. He just appears to his people because he's showing them, it's for them, love and redemption and mercy. And he wants them to get this pattern. He wants them to see that no matter what the world dishes out, no matter what you go through, love is bigger. God's love is with you, and it is bigger than all of that. And so therefore we can risk following him, because following him, if you really take it seriously in the Gospels, that means you treat people as if they are your own self. You feed people. You visit them. You make sure they have things to drink. If there are kids that need schooling, you get them schooling. All of the things, because they're all you. We are all one. Well, the only way that we can live like that, because you can feel kind of dumb if you do, is knowing that it's real. And that when you step into God's love and you grow yourself up into Jesus Christ, that love is bigger. Love wins. We can get so blindsided and narrowly focused on the awfulness of this world. Especially now, you guys, with social media and all of the things on my Facebook feed. There's one horror after another, small ones of a child or an animal is mistreated, to huge things. We can start thinking that it's all dark. And so he did this for us to show us what I said is real. This love is bigger than anything humans can dish out. Doesn't mean there won't be pain. It doesn't mean that we won't have our Good Fridays. But it does mean that Jesus will be with us through it, and that pain and that hatred and the darkness of the world will not get the last word, because love wins. Jesus, I think, there's a lot of discussion about the whole what is the cross about and how does that save us. But I think in the end, one of the places where we have messed up as Christians is that we have thought that by Jesus dying on the cross and rising, he was trying to make us acceptable to God, to explain us to God. But I don't think so. I think that the whole pattern of this was for us so that we would understand the nature of God. God who loves us so much and who is giving and is full of grace, because we're the ones who don't get it. We're the ones who think God is made in our own image, elbowing each other out of the way for the Easter eggs. But Jesus showed us that God is so much bigger than anything we can imagine, and God's grace is flowing to us at all times. And even though we go through Good Friday and the painful weights of Holy Saturday, Sunday is coming, and love wins. He is risen. Hallelujah. Will you pray with me? Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Amen.